Hari Hari. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 11, Chapter 7, Verse 11. Dosha buddhya payatito nishehan anivata te guna buddhya cha vihita nakarati yatarbakaha. We'll go straight to the translation. One who has transcended material good and evil automatically acts in accordance with religious injunctions and avoids forbidden activities. The self-realized person does this spontaneously, like an innocent child, and not because he's thinking in terms of good and evil. Report. One who has developed transcendental knowledge never acts whimsically. Sri Rupa Goswami describes two stages of devotional service, sadhana bhakti and raganuga bhakti. Raganuga bhakti is a stage of spontaneous love of Godhead, whereas sadhana bhakti means the conscientious practice of the regulative principles of devotional service. In most cases, one who is now enjoying transcendental consciousness has rigidly practiced the rules and regulations of devotional service. Thus, due to previous practice, one spontaneously avoids sinful life and acts in accordance with the standards of ordinary piety. This does not mean that a self-realized soul is consciously avoiding sin and pursuing piety. Rather, due to his self-realized nature, he spontaneously engages in the most exalted spiritual activities, just as an innocent child may spontaneously exhibit good qualities such as kindness, tolerance, and so on. The spiritual platform is called Shuddha Tattva, or purified goodness, to distinguish it from the material mode of goodness, which is always to some extent polluted by the lower modes of passion and ignorance. Thus, if a man in material goodness appears to be most pious in the eyes of the world, we can only imagine the spotless character of a self-realized soul in purified spiritual goodness. Therefore, stated in Srimad Bhagavatam 5:18-12. Yasyasti bhakti bhagavati kinchana sarai gunais tatra samasade saha haravabhattasya koja mahaguna manaratena satitavatabahi. If one is a pure devotee of Lord Krishna, he will automatically exhibit all the exalted qualities of the demigod. Such manifestation of purity is spontaneous as explained in this verse. Mukam karati vachalam bhangam langate girimya divantamaham bande shikurum dinatarnam Om Jnana Timirandasya Gyananjara Sharakaya Chakshamiditam Yena Tasamai Shri Gurave Namaha. So this verse talks a lot about motive goodness and also pure goodness. So if we want to really understand the mode of goodness and the difference between the mode of goodness and pure goodness, there's a whole process, Shraddha to Prema. Shraddha, first you have faith, and then after faith comes, you have a little faith, and then you start to associate with devotees, and that is sadhusanga, and then bhajana kriya, you start to practice devotional service. And actually there's bhajana kriya is you're not yet pure. You're still trying to be pure. You're trying to be purified. And after bhajana kriya comes anartha-nivritti, and then you start getting obstacles. You start seeing the obstacles, and you might even lose your faith, or your faith may be tested. And after that comes nishta, where you're in pure faith. And after nishta comes ruchi, you get a taste for devotional service. And after ruchi comes asakti, you get very attached to Krishna. And then after asakti comes bhava, you in ecstasy, and then prema, pure love of Godhead. So most of us who are actually practicing devotional service, bhakti yoga principles, are in the level of anartha-nivritti. We're trying to get rid of our anarthas, or maybe even struggling with anarthas. means bad habits and things. So Bhagavatam, there's a verse which we often chant. Nashta presh abhadeshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavat tamashloke bhakti bhakti nashtaki. Simply by worshipping nityam bhagavata sevaya, the Bhagavad, two Bhagavata, the book Bhagavad and the person Bhagavad, almost all of your lower modes of nature and the bad qualities are removed. And when almost all are removed, you come to Nishta, or firm faith, or another name for it is the mode of goodness. You're kind of in between. Nishta is in between the higher and the lower levels. And so Bhagavatam, this is 1 to 9, that was 1 to 18. Now 1 to 19 continues. Tadarajastamo bhavakama lovaraschaye chittitana vitam stitam safe prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is established in the heart, that's nishta, the effects of nature's modes of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire, and hankering, disappear from the heart. Then the devotee is established in goodness, and he becomes completely happy. Okay, so now we're on the level of nishta, or firm faith. How do you know? What are the characteristics of a person at nishta, or firm faith? First, primary characteristic is he is in control of his gross and subtle senses. Gross means you don't do anything against the regulative principle, and subtle means you don't even think anything against the regulative principles. And the second symptom of a person at nishta has good qualities: humility, tolerance, kindness. Some devotees are humble, but may not be steady in their sadhana. So other devotees might be proud and have anger, but they are steady. So they are immature in the development of Vaishnava qualities. So yes, a strict devotee, he does not offend Vaishnavas by his immature dealings. If you're doing devotional service and you commit offenses to other devotees, then you won't get the fruit of spiritual advancement. So this verse was quoted, Yasyasti Bhaktir Bhagavata Kinchana, that all the good qualities manifest in the body of one who has developed unalloyed devotion. So yes, so this will show when you come to the level of Nishta. It should show. But there's another very most important quality, a symptom that you have come to firm faith. That is, you're very fixed in chanting Hare Krishna. So that's the most important thing. In the Skanda Purana, it is said, have no fear of the sharp-fanged serpent of Kali Yuga. Give him the name of Govinda, and he will be burnt to ashes. So devotees reach the stage of Nishta when they unfailingly chant their prescribed number of rounds without offense, and this is a sign of steadiness. Now, what about ruchi? What about taste? What are the results of chanting when you come to the level of ruchi, or taste? This is from Bhajan Rahasya. First of all, you have unlimited desire to hear and chant about Krishna. Second, all false identification of the body as a self is destroyed. Third, all obstacles are removed to moving forward. And fourth, Krishna steals your heart. So this is ruchi. And so His Holiness Sachinandan Swami said a prayer, I pray that wherever I may be, I will be counted as one of your devotees, not the best devotee. I want to serve even the new devotees. Yeah, but sometimes we're chanting, desires are coming, but then we should be humble. That should create humility in our heart and need for shelter. And Krishna's mercy will increase if we actually take shelter of Krishna, the holy name. Ruchi will come just like the Ganges. Whatever is in the way will be washed away. So the chanting is like the Ganga River. It will take everything out of your heart. And so, yes. So devotion that possesses nishta is known as nishtita bhakti. The Bhagavatam says bhaktir naishtiki. Yeah. So, but at the stage when anarthas or bad qualities are still in the heart, devotee may try as hard as possible to counteract them by devotional activities, but there are 5 internal obstacles. In Sanskrit, I'll tell you the English after. Well, laya means you want to sleep while you chant. Vikshepa is distraction. And of course, the cell phone is the weapon of distraction. Uh, apratipati, indifference. Kashaya, bad qualities. Rashasvad, doing other things like preaching during your japa or something else, talking. So first of all, laya, being sleepy during hearing chanting and remembering. There was one of my friends, she was in a Bhagavatam class in India. She was in the addressing the deities and the loudspeaker was on, and she was addressing the deities. All of a sudden, it went silent. There was no voice. So she came out of the deity room and she saw the speaker was asleep and the whole class was asleep. And that's a weakness that will be an obstacle to ruchi, or even nishta, actually, nishta. Vikshepa is when you talk or think about mundane nonsense while you're hearing or chanting. Apratipati, you're not sleepy, you're not distracted, still you don't want to chant, you're indifferent. You're not interested in chanting. Kashaya, you show such faults as anger, greed, arrogance during devotional activities. The effects of lust are very bad. So lust is one of these qualities. One time, one devotee said to Prabhupada, I'm so lusty, my eyes go everywhere. Prabhupada said, oh, that means you are going to go blind. And the devotee said, blind to material nature, I hope, Prabhupada. Prabhupada said, no, blind. So watch out for lust. Rasaswad means the mind is so attached to sense pleasure that you can't hear and chant. With removal of these obstacles, you can get to nishta, or steady devotion. So when this blossoms in your consciousness, you're no longer affected by anger, greed, lust from the modes of passion and ignorance. So that's rajastamo. And you become firmly fixed on Krishna, who is always in pure goodness, and you're happy. Yeah. So the lower modes are not completely finished at this level. Passion, ignorance are there, but they're under control. You can use them in Krishna's service, like Hanuman used it. And yes, Prabhupada did sometimes use it too. So, yes, you're unaffected by these modes. Mode of goodness means there's a balance between the modes. You're in goodness, and you're very happy, actually. Goodness means you're happy. So how can you measure if you're in nishta, how deep is your steadiness, is whether your hearing and chanting has intensified or has it stagnated. If you're increasing your hearing and chanting, that means there's a rise in your nishta bhakti. And if it's decreasing, then you're in unsteady devotional service. You're back in anartha and vritti. So yes. So actually, this level is also namabhas. What are the results of namabhas, or the clearing stage? 3 levels of chanting: offensive, clearing, and pure. So the middle stage, namabhas, you can also hit that when you get to the level of nishta. So what are the results of being at this stage? You have firm faith. Okay, that's your nishta. And second, extinction of sinful reactions. So your karma will be a lot reduced. Three, liberation from the effects of Kali Yuga. And there was a lot of effects of Kali Yuga, and one of them is cell phones. 4, disappearance of fear and advent of peace. So you're fearless. You'll be a fearless preacher, and you're peaceful. People don't disturb you if they attack you or if they praise you. And 5, you have protection from ghosts and adverse planets. So if you're in Rahu or Ketu, you'll be protected. And 6, you'll get the 4 goals of life: dharma, artha, kama, moksha. As this verse states, it will be spontaneously religious, dharma, artha. You'll be taken care of financially, financially. And what else? Dharma, artha, kama. Your lust will be for Krishna and for chanting. Lobha, lobha, intensely desiring spiritual things. And moksha, you will be on the level, the first step of liberation is the mode of goodness. And then seventh result of namabhas or nishta is you'll be very happy. So this is the mode of goodness. In goodness, we're happy. So there's two processes, direct and indirect. One process is, you do tapasya, austerity, brahmacharya, and so many things. But there's another process, and that is the positive side, Krishna consciousness. Simply by Shravanam, Kirtanam, hearing about Krishna, chanting, Nasta Preshta Bhadreshu, that's the test, and you'll become free of lust and greediness. Prabhupada gives the example of fog. There's so many things you can do, precautions, but if the sun is strong, the fog is finished. So by chanting, the fog of anarthas in our heart will go. So this, in this verse 1 to 19, Cheta ita anavidam, there's a piercing in our heart, and that piercing is the mode of passion and ignorance. But when you're in the mode of good Krishna consciousness, it will not pierce your heart anymore. And when this stops, passion and ignorance, you become joyful. You're always happy. And this is then you become active in devotional service. So in the purport of this verse, Prabhupada says, a living being in his normal constitutional position is fully satisfied in spiritual bliss. This is Brahma Bhuta or Atmanandi. So Nishta is the Brahma Bhuta, mode of goodness. And lusty and greediness, that keeps us in lamentation and hankering. So Shoshati Nakangshati. Tada, at that time when you, so what happens when you are in the mode of goodness? Srila Prabhupada explains in his lecture, you have become a true Brahmana. Tada. So he said, therefore, in our Krishna conscious movement, we first of all bring anyone to the platform of Brahman. Then second initiation, we offer the sacred thread and Brahman Gayatri. And we have become a true Brahmana, then you will think, now I shall devote my life in Krishna consciousness. When Bhakti Charanraj was talking with Srila Prabhupada said to him, you have spent billions of lifetimes in sense gratification. Just give this one life to Krishna. And if you want, you can have billions of more lives in sense gratification. So this is Nishta. I'll give this life, one life to Krishna. And then you can be satisfied. And so these verses from first canto, second chapter, 17 to 21, they were all quoted by Prabhupada when he first arrived in America. And he said, yes, if they hear Bhagavatam, these people are hopeless, but if they hear Bhagavatam, they will be purified, and passion and ignorance will be broken and disappear, and people will become happy. So the next verse, 1 to 20, says, Evam prasana manasa bhagavat bhakti yogata bhagavat tattva vijnana mukta sangsajayate. Established in the mode of unalloyed goodness. Okay, now we're coming a step further. Now we're past the mode of goodness, unalloyed goodness. The man whose mind has been enlivened by contact with devotional service to the Lord gains positive scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. So yes, now we apply the knowledge. Yes, so everything is happening in the heart. Heart is the central point. First, it is said in 17th verse, Shinvatam Swakata Krishna, Punya Shavana Kirtana, Hridantyo Vidunoti, that the Lord is cleaning your heart when you chant. And then the next verse, 18, almost all the dirty things are gone. And 19, lust and greediness are in control. And now you're very, very happy. Yes. And so the purport of that verse, Prabhupada says, as soon as one understands he has nothing to do with matter, he at once ceases his material hankerings and becomes enlivened as a spiritual being. Prasanna, you'll be very happy. And if you're not happy, then you're in Maya. Prabhupada says Maya has attacked you if you're not happy. Rupa Goswami says we should be utsaha, always enthusiastic. Just like when I visited Jaipur, the whole city in Jaipur goes to Mangalarti. And so at 4 a.m, I was awake and people were running in the streets saying, Govinda, Govinda. And that's the deity. They're shouting. They can't wait to see Govinda at the Mangalarti time. And so they have this ruchi, this taste. And so taste is, we have tasted even now, even at our level. Now we do have taste. And what is the function of the taste that we have right now, even though haven't come to the level of taste? Level of taste means 24 hours, you're always relishing and happy and you're enjoying doing service and chanting. So what about the ruchi, the taste we have now? It makes our faith and intelligence strong and we can resist temptation. And secondly, the ruchi, the taste we have now destroys ignorance, which is the cause of material affection. So in Bhagavad Gita, Vishaya Vinvartana Dehina, Krishna explains that we have a higher taste, we have a little taste, and that purifies our vision, paramdishva, and we can endure this urge for sense enjoyment without succumbing to it. And yes, and it helps fix us in consciousness. But sometimes it may be our spiritual taste in the beginning might be a little bitter, and that's described by Rupa Goswami in Nectar of Instruction, verse 7, the holy name, they're very sweet and pastimes. Although the tongue afflicted by jaundice of avidya, ignorance, cannot taste anything sweet, it's wonderful just by carefully chanting these sweet names every day. A natural relish awakens and disease is gradually destroyed at the root. So sugar, when you have jaundice, it's very bitter. And so what are the symptoms of taste? All impediments to chanting and hearing and fatigue and hunger are no longer visible. Second, insatiable appetite for even seemingly insignificant devotional practices. We're so absorbed in taste. Forget who you are, just like people who go on internet forget who they are, forget to eat. So you're so happy and Krishna conscious, you forget who you are, but still false ego is there. And that is visible in we do commit offenses and we have unwanted habits. So what happens after ruchi, verse 1 to 21? The knot in the heart is pierced. All misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master. So the knot in the heart, what's that? Ahankara, false ego. So a knot means it's connecting two things together. So what is this knot in the heart? What is false ego connecting? Matter and spirit, body and soul. It's being connected by false ego, this knot. And some of us have a lot of knots in the heart. And so we have to cut this knot down. And how to do that? Well, the sword of knowledge is given by Krishna. This is from Bhagavatam Gyanasim Achyutabala, 7th canto, 15th chapter, verse like around 42. Yes, we have to sharpen the sword. It's given by Krishna, but the strength to hold the sword is given by Bala, or the spiritual master. And we sharpen the sword by following instructions of the spiritual master. So this is the liberated stage. Two things must go in parallel lines when we are cultivating our Krishna consciousness. We have to cultivate the positive chanting and try to give up the unwanted things. So yes, we do have some unwanted things. Prabhupada calls it our karma like chickpeas. If you plant the chickpeas on the ground, it'll grow into a plant. But if you cook the chickpeas, your karma will be fried. And how do you fry your karma? By devotional service. Now, this is a very important thing to understand. What is actually happening in the heart? If you had a video camera and could see into your heart at this level where you're just coming, you're just blooming. So the Lord, Prabhupada said, this is from 1 to 21 purport. The Lord switches on the light in your heart and all the darkness of misgivings go away. He switches the light of pure knowledge. And so that happens first. And what happens next? The Lord unties the knot in the heart. You don't have to worry. He'll do it. He'll do it, but you have to keep on chanting and hearing and try to get rid of all the bad things. And so, yes, this is our work that is cut out for us in this life. So the Lord is very kind and affectionate to the devotee. So this is a purport 617:17. So a devotee in any condition is not subjected to results of karma. The devotee never aspires for heavenly planets, liberation, and hell. They're all non-different for a devotee. He doesn't discriminate between different positions in the material world. The devotee is always eager to return home back to Godhead and remain there as the Lord's associate. This ambition becomes increasingly fervent in his heart, and therefore he doesn't care about material changes in his life. Shri Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments, so this is about Maharaj Chitraketu's being cursed by Parvati, should be considered the mercy of the Lord. The Lord wanted Chitraketu to return to God as soon as possible. Therefore, he terminated all reactions of his past deeds. Acting through the heart of Parvati, the Lord, who is situated in everyone's heart, cursed Chitraketu in order to end all his material reactions. Thus, Chitraketu became Vritrasura in his next life and returned home back to Godhead. So if someone's cursed you, then yes, the Lord will take care of it. So here are some things which Prabhupada said about devotional service. And especially in the 70s, there was a lot of book distribution in America. So here was a book, here was a class to book distributors. Vishwamitra had performed heavy tapasya for 60,000 years. You can get the same benefit of this austerity on a few days of Sankirtan. There you go. So go out, distribute books, and chant Hare Krishna. 60,000 years of austerity is there for you. Pujari, now in Vrindavan, he gave a whole different class. He said the highest service a human being can perform is to be a pujari, because although the pujari has a material body, the pujari serves the Supreme Lord. He wakes the Lord up, bathes, dresses, and feeds him. These are activities of the spiritual world, but the pujari does them in this world. This is the perfection of human life. There is nothing higher than being a pujari. If you are a pujari, you have attained your constitutional position even within samsara. This person is liberated. And another comment on deity worship, you must decorate the deities very nicely. By decorating the deities, you are decorating your heart. If you neglect decorating the deities, you will neglect decorating your heart, and your heart will become black. And that is why so many have left. So, this verse, yes. Oh, let's see. Ruchi. Now, Prabhupada is talking about Ruchi in the very early days in New York in 1966. To the hippie. Ruchi means you will simply hanker after spiritual things. You won't like to hear anything except spiritual messages. You are all in New York, so you can imagine what it's like. You won't like to do anything except spiritual activities. You won't like to eat anything. Then bhava, and you'll be transcendently ecstaticized. I made a new English word, ecstaticized. Oh, okay. There will be some ecstasy. These are the steps to the highest platform. So now we might be wondering about Raganuga and Sadhana. I do believe this verse talked about it. But there is such a thing Nectar of Devotion talks about, which is there's a regulative principle sadhana, and there is Raganuga sadhana. Also, even you're doing the regulative principles, you can have a touch of Raganuga, and it's called Raganuga sadhana. And this is in chapter 2, right in the beginning, of Nectar of Devotion. This is in Calcutta. I heard it in 1973 when Prabhupada gave a lecture on Nectar of Devotion. And well, he's quoting, this is actually a quote from Nectar of Devotion, chapter 2. Another part of sadhana bhakti is called raganuga. Raganuga refers to the point at which, by following regular principles, one becomes a little more attached to Krishna and executes devotional service out of natural love. And so this is like this verse in Purport talking about spontaneous love. We can have that even now. For example, a person engaged in devotional service may be ordered to rise early in the morning and offer arti, which is a form of deity worship. In the beginning, by the order of his spiritual master, one rises early in the morning and offers arti, but then he develops real attachment. When he gets this attachment, he automatically tries to decorate the deity, prepare different kinds of dresses, and thinks of different plans to execute his devotional service nicely. Although it is within the category of practice, this offering of loving service is spontaneous. So you can have it if you're thinking about something nice to cook for Krishna, some nice clothes, or you go shopping for Krishna. Oh, Krishna will like this and that. You're in Raganuga sadhana. So I'll give an example from when Prabhupada was here. Of course, we were in India, and in Juhu, there was one lady, Mrs. Single, and she was very, very supportive for Prabhupada and devotees. And devotees would go to her house for lunch. And once, when she invited Prabhupada and some sannyasis to her house, she burst into the room with a friend, and she was playing a violin and singing a Brijabasi bhajan. So one of the sannyasis made a face and rolled his eyes, and oh, this is Sahajya. Prabhupada said, this is spontaneous devotion. She is a Vaishnava from birth. You are just beginning to learn how to be a Vaishnava. So, yes, so we need to chant and hear and try to improve your chanting every day. And one day you will also be doing Raganuga sadhana, spontaneous devotional service. You'll be at Nishta and Ruchi. So I'll stop here. If there's any questions or comments, you can ask it now. Questions or comments?
Hare Krishna, Adi Purusha.
Adi Purusha?
Hare Krishna. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, Mataji, gosh. Your enthusiasm is explosive. Amazing what joy. I can barely take it in as fast as you're out.
Yeah. Well, I only had, basically a half hour.
It's like
45 minutes.
have
No,
a
half hour. Yeah.
when they have a racehorse at the racetrack and there's all of a sudden the bell rings and the gate opens and then goes
Yeah,
charging.
sorry, it was a lot to get in.
One of the verses you quoted, I'm just reflecting back what you already said so perfectly. One of the verses you quoted is Yasyasya Bhaktir Bhagavat Nikinchana Savargana Stachasama.
Oh, yeah.
And it's very consoling. You're describing how we're in this process and we're trying to go forward and the things to do and not to do. But that verse says, very simply, one who has full faith in Guru and Krishna and is engaged in their service, all the good qualities of the demigods become manifest. So if we just try to take up our service steady and try to please Krishna, everything else will be there. There's that
Right.
one.
Yeah. Yes.
Go on.
Actually, on that note, there was one lady, wife of, can't remember his name, and she had recently left her body. And she was not a very, not a big devotee. Just a wife, mother. And after she left her body, she came back to her husband in a dream.
Oh,
And she said, hey, I'm going back to Godhead. It works. It works. You just have to chant and follow the regulative principles, and you can go back to Godhead. So there you go. It works. And so that's really important that we try to chant our 16 rounds every day, try to avoid offenses and follow regular principles. And Prabhupada did say he will take us. That's according to Jagtaka Maharaj and Bandhu Prabhu in classes in LA. He did say he would, I guarantee you go back to Godhead.
There was
So,
one devotee named Mother Kushmapati. I think she was a belly dancer before she was a devotee.
wow.
And she had one son, about 5 years old.
Mhm.
Um, he left his body.
Oh,
And she was telling me that the son came to her in a dream.
oh, wow.
And he said, Mataji, come on, we have to go. And she was saying, I said, where are we going? She said, we have to go back to Godhead. Come on, let's go, come with me. And she said she had all these baubles, all these jewels and necklaces and earrings and things. Okay, let me pack my things. And she started packing and he said, no, Mataji, come now, come now. Don't wait, come with me now. And she was packing and then the sun disappeared. And she,
Oh,
I just realized, what the heck am I holding on to? All these silly trinkets. And all of us
uh-huh.
have our baubles and our,
She realized, or you.
yeah.
Oh, she became a devotee.
Well, she was a devotee already, but
Oh,
there are things that we hold on to
oh,
that are not in nirvana. You were talking about how,
right.
and, but the process of devotional service works, like you said. Anyway, I'm talking too long. Oh, glory to Srila Prabhupada, Hare Krishna.
Yeah, yeah, it works. It works. And this lady, she was just a regular devotee, you know. I don't know if she was on Baba or anything, but anyway, she went back to God. Any other question we have? Bhima has his hand up.
Yes, Haribo Narayani Prabhujini.
Haribo.
Um, I love that your emphasis on ruchi. Um, we tend to think, ruchi, oh, what, we're enjoying something, but it's
Mm,
actually that ruchi which gives us our faith.
ah,
We have, I remember before I met the devotees, in fact, something that led me into meeting Radhanath Swami and taking seriously what he was saying to me
right.
was, I was taking a philosophy course called Mysticism 101. So
Huh,
it was about Christian mysticism, St. John
oh,
of the Cross,
right.
St. Teresa of Avila, etc. And two words that I always remember being written in the books about the life of the mystics, which was one of the words that you said, ecstasy. Lots of like, in the ecstasy of this uh, and those experiences. And then another word was ineffable,
Oh,
ineffable,
mhm,
which is sort of that ruchi, that things that happen to us that we know that there's no other answer than that Krishna had a hand in it in a moment. It
mhm,
might even be a small thing, something that we used to call coincidence.
right,
When you're engaged, as we were in New Vrindavan,
right.
doing tremendous amounts of labor
Uh-huh.
and work and full on absorption
Hmm.
because you didn't have a choice. There
Right,
wasn't a
right,
city around. You did not have a choice. You were
right.
engaged fully. And during those times, you'd go full days of very heavy duty labor or work or sacrifice. And at
Right.
the end of the day, you were happy. You were overjoyed. You were
Wow.
fulfilled. You didn't want to be anywhere else. I remember sitting in a van that I had to travel with two other brahmacharis for months at a time,
Wow.
raising money to buy New Vrindavan land and to build the Palace of Gold, et cetera, et
Wow.
cetera. And I remember just it's always taking a barometer, a temperature of how I really felt inside.
Wow.
And I would be laying on, the floor of the van in my sleeping bag with a half-inch pad and say to myself, I I don't want to be anywhere else but here.
Wow.
And that
Wow.
was that ruchi. It was a
Yes.
soft ruchi, but
Hmm.
it was
Hmm.
that feeling of
Yes.
complete contentment, to be content
Yes.
with where you're at. Even though I was a poor brahmachari,
Right.
basically, giving my life away at that time.
Hmm.
But I always remember that. And just another thing is like, I never remember all the warm, luxurious showers that I've ever had, but I sure do remember being in 20-degree below weather with the wind whipping off Lake Erie at the Chicago Super Bowl.
Oh, oh.
And having to take a bucket of water, take a one of those gallon jugs of water that we'd have 6 of them lined up, 2 for each of us, one to get us wet and one to rinse us off after we lathered ourselves. And we had to jump out in that 20-degree below weather, and we had to pour that water, which we had to bust against the side of the van to break the ice because it froze during the night, and pour it over our bald
Oh my
heads.
God.
And hit you like a 2x4. Like when the water hits the bald head, it hits you like a 2x4, and then you rinse off, and then you jump back in the van, which is running and the heat's blowing, and the body kicks on. It feels like if you've ever been in a house and the heater kicks on, all the lights dim. So it's like boom, all of a sudden your body kicks on, and you're just like overjoyed at the austerity. They say that austerity is the wealth of the Brahmins or the brahmacharis, and that's that type of ruchi, to know that the discipline that you engage in, that the sacrifice that you engage in, is actually the taste. The taste is in it.
Really?
It's not something that comes later. And
No.
and you also understand that at sometimes, if you're fully engaged, this isn't something I've been in a long time, but when you're fully engaged, you are not hankering to go
Yeah.
back to Godhead.
Yes,
You
yes.
are actually
You're back to Godhead. Yes.
you're in it. Yeah, you're at war. You're in the war. You're having fun. You're pulling, you're bending the bow, you're shooting the arrows, and Krishna's with you, because when you're fully engaged, there's a smoothness, there's a dome
Yeah.
to protect you. Another thing, and I just wanted to end it here, is that all this was prefaced on the fact of intense attentiveness to chanting in the morning. I mean, it was just like the first thing you did after that cold shower was to grab your bead bag and bury yourself in the holy name, because you were completely overrun. You were completely overrun by the material world when you stepped out there.
Okay, I'd like to add one thing.
Yeah.
We have only a minute. Someone asked Prabhupada, is it better to go back to Godhead, or better to desire to go back to Godhead, or better to stay here and preach? Prabhupada said, one who is preaching, he's already back to Godhead. So there you go. Prabhupada confirmed that you were already back to Godhead in those moments.
Thank you, Mataji.
Yeah, I don't know if there was another question, but it's 8 o'clock, so I'm not sure if we have to stop now. Thank you for that wonderful story, realization. Yeah. Narottam Nitai. Oh,
Sorry.
okay. All right. Finish. No time. Well, you can write it in the chat and maybe I could answer it. I don't know, but maybe if you give all attention to the deities. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm here now, so you can ask me now, because I will be going away.
Bhagavatam samasitam buddhastu narangam Gandharva kamaniya vishesha shobha Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham
Yeah, you did it.
Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Anganiyasya Sakalin Priyavrittimanti Pashyanti Pariharyanti Chiram Jaganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Bala Vigrahasya Govinda Hari Purusham Namaham Bhajami Govinda Hari Purusham Namaham Bhajami Govinda Hari Purusham Namaham Bhajami Govinda Hari Purusham The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. My only wish is to have my consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection that fulfills all desires. He opens my darkened eyes with transcendental knowledge. He is my Lord, birth after birth. From him ecstatic prema emanates, by him ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. May your fame be spread all over the three worlds. We take shelter at your lotus feet.
Jai Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, dear devotees, thank you so much for your association. Thank you, Sundari Radha, Venumaduri. Thank you, Amrita Kishori, for co-hosting. I got a little distracted during the Q&A. I'm sorry. Would anyone like to speak? Life after life.
Hare Krishna, I'll ask a question. So,
Who's answering? Is Bhima answering?
It looks like you are, Nanda Bihari.
No, in the presence of Bhima? No, I am just being quiet.
Okay, well, I guess it's an open question, but so say Mother Narayani was talking about, being tired when chanting. And I guess I experience that a lot, especially in the early morning hours. So is there any suggestions on how to help that? I did realize, so when my dog started barking and had to go outside and I had to get up, that did give me a little bit of energy, the shift of scenery, I guess. But does anybody have any recommendations, suggestions, what works for you?
Chant on the hoof.
Sorry, would you say, Bhima?
Chant on the hoof. That means when you take the dogs out, go 8 rounds in one direction. That way you're forced to go 8 rounds and back to where you came from. Find a lake, find a mountain, find a path, and traverse it. And make it a habit, and you'll never grow tired chanting. If you sit down, I mean, all glories to those people who can sit. Radhanath Maharaj does this. He will just sit and with his legs crossed and you see a little bit of a head movement and body, and somehow they're so absorbed. But for myself, and I suppose for the majority of us, we have to keep the body active. Otherwise, the tendency is inertia, and then of course sleep, especially in repetition in doing something repetitiously.
Bhima Prabhu, what time do you go to bed?
I start falling asleep around 8 o'clock, and then I doom scroll until I become exhausted with the world within like 30 minutes, and then I go to sleep. And yeah, and
Thank
then
you. That
yeah.
Bhima Prabhu.
I've never done anything better in my life in regards to helping me materially and spiritually than early to bed, early to rise. And this is only a recent phenomenon or habit that I had made up my mind a couple years back during COVID, a few years back. Hey, this is a good time to see what early to bed, early to rise means. And I remember, of course, as a brahmachari at New Vrindavan, we did not get to bed early. We were always up late at night doing something fantastic because there was just so much to do. But we did have to, without a doubt, rise at 3:30. You could not sleep in. You had to, and if you arrived in the temple late, you were looked at as if you just had illicit relations with someone or something like that. I mean, it was incredible, the pressure, the peer pressure that was on during those days. But early to bed, early to rise, I tell you, if there's anything that we can practically do to help our lives, both materially and spiritually, which is to align our circadian rhythm with Mother Earth, which is to go to bed with the sun and wake up before the sun rises. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Bhima Prabhu. So, two takeaways from Bhima Prabhu: early to bed, early to rise, and fresh air. Open the window, sit by the window. Fresh air helps a lot. Okay, Madame Gopal Prabhu is here. Madame Gopal Prabhu, would you like to offer anything in this regard? You always have very helpful and practical tips.
Hare Krishna, thank you for coordinating this wonderful class. I enjoyed it, hearing it. And Mother Narayani is just an incredible leader and spiritual guide and teacher. You know how we do Bhakti Shastri and we do Bhakti Vaibhav and Bhakti Vedanta, and then there's teachers who teach that. You can imagine their level of understanding. And then there's those devotees who write the curriculum for the teachers guides. Mother Narayani wrote the teacher's guide to the teachers who teach Bhakti Shastra and Bhakti Vaibhav. So she's like the top of the top in terms of understanding Shastra. It's so wonderful that we can get to hear her. Yes, Sundari Radha had a great question about tiredness. So of course, tiredness, there's so many aspects to it, right? It's very common. If we're consistently sleep deprived, that's what Anand Bihari was asking, what time do you sleep, right? If we're not getting enough sleep, if you're overworked, if you're dehydrated, if our nutritional profile is not balanced, sometimes that's a thing. And different devotees or different bodies need different nutrition profiles, by the way, depending on your Ayurvedic makeup. But you have to get a sense of what's good for you and what's bad for you. For some people, if they even just have wheat, they'll just throw off their body, and other people it doesn't matter. So if all those things are not lined up, the mind naturally shuts down and it's exhausting. So a few things: drinking water enough, washing the face, walking a little, like Bhima Prabhu was saying, if you walk a little, might help. You want to chant earlier before the day is draining you. But of course, that only works if you've had enough rest the night before. What else? Avoid chanting in overly comfortable conditions. Sometimes we're just too comfortable. And then the body slips into, it creates the excuse of tiredness to slip into the mode of ignorance. That's why we sit up straight. We don't lean on anything. Years ago I used to think, I just have to kind of relax. And the more I relax, the better it'll be for my chanting. And then I got these zero gravity chairs, and they're like, I just lean back, and I'm totally relaxed now. My back is fantastic, and I can really focus. But that's not how it works. It's actually the opposite. But our mind tends to slip into the mode of ignorance. Our bodies tend to feel more sleepy, and we think this is awesome, but it's not good chanting. Soft sofa, warm blanket, dim room, late night, these things invite sleep almost always. So sit upright, keep the room ventilated, avoid lying down, like reclining while chanting. Even if you sit on a chair, say if you sit on a chair, don't lean on the chair. Like sit at the edge of it, sit up straight, that's fine. Sometimes if we have a knee problem, then we can't sit on the floor, that's fine, but sit up straight. You can see some people sit that way naturally at office. You see those people who just, even in meetings, they sit up straight. That body language conveys something not just to Krishna, but it conveys to our own mind that this is something important that's happening. And then the body lines up, it brings its own energy, it creates its energy, because it rises to the occasion at cellular level. Another thing is you want to reduce your phone engagement before the japa. Like, don't look at phone the first thing in the morning. Maybe decide if I look at the phone, it'll be after my japa session, at least after my core rounds are done. And of course, we don't want to confuse tiredness with lack of devotion. Sincere devotee may feel distracted, dull, sleepy because of all these other reasons. Doesn't mean you don't have devotion. We can lean on that and cry to the Lord, my Lord, I'm tired, but I'm really trying to be there for you, and so on. So the Lord blesses you as well. Krishna sees the effort. So rest the body, protect your morning, walk if needed, pray before every round. Don't get too comfortable, physically speaking. And so those things I can suggest for the tiredness. Hare Krishna.
I recently attempted to watch an abominable karmic movie, and I fell asleep immediately. So that's a good curse to have, to not being able to watch a movie. So Krishna, it works both ways, I guess. Devaki Preeti has her hand up.
Thank you so much, Cindy Rada, for that wonderful question. I have struggled with that too. I was so happy that I got to hear that. And thank you so much, Madam Gopal Prabhu and Bhima Prabhu, for your responses. I was especially appreciating the sitting up because it's hard for me to do that. But I appreciated what you were saying, Madam Gopal Prabhu, about how when you lean back, it just helps tell your body that it's time to fall asleep. So I really appreciate you saying how even doing that, it also just helps everything be more centered. So it helps remind you that yeah, what I'm doing is sacred. And yeah, so I just really like that one. I hadn't heard anyone say that. So I'm gonna implement that today as I have japa to finish. So thank you so much.
If you want to see a practical demonstration of how that works, just look at our fearless leader of the free world. Even in the middle of a meeting, and everybody's talking about all kinds of economic or socio-political stuff, and it doesn't bother him. Because he's leaning back, and all of a sudden he slips into this trance or something. So yeah, definitely watch out for that. Don't get too comfortable. But it's also another quick tip that I found has been life-changing, and this is a very mundane thing, but getting a right cushion. I found this meditation cushion, and ever since then I carry it everywhere. It's like my safety blanket. But when I sit on it, I can sit up completely straight for I can sit up straight for 2.5 hours without getting out of the seat on the floor. And that's considering that I have bad back and bad knees. But the cushion really, really just is a life-changing thing. So look.
Sounds like sense gratification to me.
Yeah, well, it's you got to add a little Maya in the thing, After all, I said, my Lord.
I have a bed of nails. That's what
you're a yogi from New Vrindavan, just like Adi Purush Prabhu.
No, the bed of nails are my thoughts, my head, my mind, poking.
Well, I bite my nails, so I usually sleep in a bed of nails. Yeah. Okay, let's see.
Ishwari Sundari had her hand up. Ishwari Sundari, Spirit Soul.
Yeah, that's what I thought, yes.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, it was up and down because I'm getting ready and about to leave, so I wasn't sure if I would get a chance to speak. Thank you. I remember being in a class with Muhammad Das at the Bhakti Center, and he asked a simple question that nobody could answer. And he said, what kept Prabhupada, going? Heart attacks, travel, people not believing in him, coming into the Lower East Side. And it was such a simple answer, and the answer was enthusiasm. And that really stuck to me because I said to myself, all right, when I do the chanting, first of all, coming into this kind of later on in life, and I already have a lot of ADD or whatever you want to call it, multitasking, corporate life mindset. Um, it was always hard for me, but I actually was doing the beads because it's like, okay, this is what you're supposed to do. It was never like with enthusiasm per se. And so, to me, the key to it's posture, it's seating, it's well rested, it's hydration, it's all the physical. But to me, I have metal rods, so some of this doesn't work for me. So I'm a moving person. I have to be walking, I have to be standing up. And that's how actually chanting really works for me, because when my body's not in pain and discomfort, I could really take in, the chanting. But beyond that is like the mindset, like, wake up in the morning and before I even get out of bed, it's thank you, Krishna. I just thank Krishna and I start my day like that. And then when I start to chant, because I'm easily distracted, is I'll read a verse or, I'll say a verse that I know, like Harinama, 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 so and so forth. Something that is going to give me that enthusiasm as to why I'm chanting. What is the purpose of chanting? What is the benefit of chanting? Why was this given to us in this age of Kali Yuga? That builds such enthusiasm. It's like kind of like working out and not having music, and then you put music and you feel excited. So, like reading something or saying something or just remembering all the reasons why this is so important and special and it's a gift to us, and it's actually not that hard to do if we think about it. That gives me like this energy to keep going, and stay focused through my chanting. And that's all I wanted to say before I rush off to New York City. Haribo.
Thank you, Shri Sundar. That is super helpful. Nityananda Chandra Prabhu.
All right, Bo. Ishwari Cindy, what she said was very wonderful. I just have a mundane kind of practical advice for us sitting. Anand Gopal was talking about a cushion, and so in Iyengar yoga, I learned about how to use these cushions, these sitting cushions, and basically, if you sit on the floor cross-legged, and certain people, depending on the tightness of their hips, their knees will go up. And so if you sit on a cushion at the height where your hips and your knees are at the same level, then you can sit with your back straight without strain, without struggle, and without discomfort. And so yeah, basically, not with your legs on the cushion, but just your butt on the cushion. You raise that up to the same height where your hips and your knees are at the same height. Then you can sit comfortably up with your back nice and straight. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. On this high note, oh yeah, there's one more thing I wanted to mention. There's a recording of Srila Prabhupada chanting japa. There's various recordings of that. And one of them has Srila Prabhupada say in the middle of chanting, he said properly. So that's a great meditation to have. When we were struggling with japa, we should go to Prabhupada, where he says, sit properly. Or we can play that while chanting our rounds in the morning. And it'll come, sit properly. It's a wake up.
Is today Ekadasi?
What was that voice from the sky? Who's that speaking? Adipusha Prabhu?
Is it Ekadasi today?
Gosh, let me see when we have the Kaddish.
Yes, it is today. Yes.
Yes,
I
today.
blew it again.
Kaddish? Okay. I guess, yeah. Yeah, we didn't mark it on the calendar for some reason. Yeah, we'll fix this. Okay. All right. Sage Sky, nice to see you. Are you ready to chant loudly? Annabelle, Isaiah, are you here? Sadhvi, nice to see you. Sadhvi is ready.
Annabelle, Isaiah, are you with us? Does anybody? Oh, there they are. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Jai Junior Choir. Jai, the transcendental conductor.
Want to ask you a question?
Hare Krishna, happy Thursday. We love you and we need you.